This is the SAU Report, a program featuring interviews with the faculty, staff, students, and alumni of Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia.
Welcome to this edition of the SAU Report. I'm Nakita Martin.
And I'm Monica Rasmussen.
Today our guest is Connie Wilson, Assistant Dean of Students here at SAU. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Connie, where are you originally from?
Bossier, Shreveport area.
Okay.
And you went to school here at SAU. Why did you choose SAU?
Well, I originally actually transferred to SAU back in 1995. I chose SAU because it was affordable, but more than that, my very first visit to campus, I actually made my decision. I believe the campus sells itself. I actually met with Dr. Elizabeth Davis, was one of the first faculty members that I came in contact with, and she actually sold me on the university. She was very friendly and helpful, and I can actually still remember my very first campus tour. I remember the name of the person and still kind of keep in contact with the person who gave me my campus tour. So to answer your question, it was the friendliness of the faculty and staff and the campus itself, and hey, I didn't have to go in debt to go here, so that was the reason I chose to be a student here.
What was your major in college?
English education.
Okay. What attracted you to your current job?
Well, I'm a people person. I enjoy people, and I was a student here, and felt that I had a lot to offer to the position because I was a student here and know what the students here go through and know what it's like to attend classes here and attend campus activities and join clubs and organizations. So I felt that I had a lot to offer for the position, and I basically thought it would be fun, and it still is. It's been a real fun position to have. So,
what are your responsibilities as Assistant Dean of Students?
Well, mainly to oversee activities, and we're kind of in charge of clubs and organizations. We run, well, our office puts on Mule Rider Roundup and Leadership Academy and some of the major activities that we have on campus. So one of my goals is in this position is to have students become more involved and take leadership roles on campus. I believe that's crucial to their total well-rounded education, so to speak.
What are some of the activities that you've done this semester?
We've done a lot of things this semester. We've, of course, done Leadership Academy and Mule Rider Roundup, and our office took a part in homecoming. We assisted with Office of Student Life in doing homecoming. Fall Fest and Chili Cook-Off. Most recently, we have helped out with the celebration of lights that we've had on campus. Our office kind of orchestrated a window decorating contest in the dining hall, and we had a real good turnout for that. It's always neat to see the talents of some of our students on campus who can draw and paint, and there were some prizes involved, and so everybody kind of joined in getting involved in that activity. So it was a lot of fun, and it's real decorative, gets people involved in campus life and the campus spirit and Christmas spirit. And we also, through our Intergreek Council, IGC, had an opportunity to help, along with Sodexo, in the dining hall to do carrying cans. And a lot of our Greek organizations participated in donating cans to go to local charities for the needy. So it's just a real good opportunity.
What do you do to promote campus activities?
Well, we try to have advertised meetings that we have. Our Student Activities Board meets bi-monthly, and next semester we're going to start meeting every week. And we try to advertise meetings. We also try to advertise campus activities to the best that we can. Also word of mouth. We put the word out there about organizations and activities. Also, another thing we do is at the beginning of the semester we issue a form that has all of our campus organizations on it to all the freshmen, and they check which campus organizations they're interested in becoming a member of, and then we get that information to the organization sponsors, and they can then contact the students who are interested in those organizations. So it's kind of a proactive way to get people involved and say, hey, did you realize that we have all these organizations? So that's that's one of the many ways that we try to get people involved.
What campus activities had the best response so far this year?
Well, I think it's always best to have, when you give away things, people tend to get involved when there's prizes involved, but that's, those are some ways and incentives to keep people interested in student activities, and so far we've had a great semester. There's been a lot of participation among organizations, and I always think it's wonderful the response that we get to different things. Just when I think, gosh, is anybody going to be involved? And then all of a sudden it's like all at once you get 10, 15 organizations who want to be a part of something. So that's always real rewarding for me, just to see students participate.
If students want to get more involved in selecting activities, what should they do?
Well, we have a student activities board, which we call SAB. You'll hear the initials more than you'll hear student activities board, but like I said, we're going to meet once a week next semester, and we encourage all students and promote the student activities board, because that is a way for students to have a voice in what the movies we show, the activities that we bring to campus. They actually have a real opportunity to decide what we do as a student activities board, and I heavily rely on them because I believe that's where the heart of it is what the students want and what they're interested in, and we try to accommodate the students. So
A lot of students complain about the activities on campus. What do you say to dissatisfied students when they want to get involved?
Well, of course I listen. I think, you can't please everybody, but I do encourage people to get involved and to be a part of Student Activities Board. I say, guys, come on and come to the meeting, and we're going to discuss what we're going to be doing next week and some of the movies we're going to show throughout the semester. So I guess just encouraging students to become involved in our Student Activities Board, and also I'm always open to suggestions and ideas, and actually it makes me look good. I love to hear from students and faculty and staff and any ideas that anyone has, because if it's at all possible, we try to implement that in some of the activities and different things that we offer. So I'm always open to suggestions, and I do encourage people to become active in in SAB.
What are some activities that you'd like to see on campus in the future?
Well, as far as activities go, whatever students are interested in seeing. But one of the things our office is working on is a co-curricular transcript. Is something that we hope to have in place early in the spring semester, and that would provide all students an opportunity to have, very similar to an academic transcript, would be a co-curricular transcript, and all the co-curricular activities that students have done throughout their college career, and you could actually get a copy of it like you do your regular transcript, and you could provide that for employers out when you're out there in the workplace. Back in fall of 2001, these were the activities that you were, and the organizations you were involved in, and your actual role in that organization. So I think that's going to be real helpful to students. It's something I'm really excited on, and we're working on some of the preliminaries, setting some of the foundation for that right now, and we hope to have that in place by spring. And I think that's going to be really a great thing for our students. So that's one of the things we're really looking forward to. And it's going to be actually tied into our award ceremony at the end of the year. We're going to ask students to submit a co-curricular transcript for that. And we think that'll be a really fair way to have an account of what students have been involved in throughout their college career. So that's what I'm looking forward to in the spring.
Okay. Would you say that funding for student activities is sufficient?
Well, I've only been here a short time, about 5 months, and I think that it is. I understand that real recently in the recent past that we've had an increase in student activity fees, which has helped. I understand that they weren't as much as they are now, and we have a really good budget. We're able to do some really neat things, bring in some great comedians and bands, and I'm really pleased with the amount that we do. I mean, I guess it would always be nice to have more. Everybody wants more, but I'm really happy and satisfied with the money that we have now. So,
your job requires you to work with fraternities and sororities. What kind of impact do they have on campus?
Well, I love the Greeks here. I think that we have a great group of individuals who, not only are leaders in Greek organizations, they're leaders in all organizations. For example, Chad LaGrone is an officer in Sigma Tau Gamma, and he's also the SGA president, involved in RHA, and is a hall director. A lot of Greeks are leaders on our campus, and I am real proud of them. I think that they well represent what Greeks should be and are about here at SAU. They are involved in a lot of philanthropies, a lot of community service, and they're constantly asking me, do you have a list of more things that we can get involved in the community? And I'm real proud of them, and I think that we just have a great group of students who are involved in our Greek organizations.
I know that you were in a sorority when you were in college. What were some of the benefits of that?
Well, you definitely have a lot of friends automatically, and there's a lot of things to be said for sisterhood or brotherhood, whatever the case may be. I think you learn how to socially interact within a group, and you are able to have some leadership opportunities, and that's what it provided me when I was active in the sorority whenever I was an undergraduate.
This is kind of to change the subject, but what changes will be implemented when SAU receives the Reynolds Grant?
Well, I think that it'll be real beneficial, especially to student activities and also the community. I don't know if y'all are aware that if we do have the Reynolds Center, it will be there will be offices for the community, different community agencies, and our student groups and students can become more involved in volunteerism, and I think that's going to be one of the wonderful benefits. The space will be another wonderful thing that we'll have to offer for student groups. Right now we have very limited meeting space, and I think that will change. So I'm really excited about that.
How do you think those changes will affect the student activities?
Well, I think we'll have more space. We'll have more of an opportunity to offer things and not have to go to other different areas on campus. It can be kind of centralized. I think it'll be more convenient for students. I think that it'll be less of a burden for different people on the campus and different facilities on the campus. So I think that it'll have a wonderful impact on student activities and student life in general.
I know that you were previously a hall director in Harrod Hall, the freshman dorm. What did you learn from that experience?
Well, I learned a lot of things. It actually all began when I became an RA back many, many years ago. I think you learn a lot about people and diversity. And as a hall director, being in charge of the facility, well, actually as a co-hall director, which I did along with my husband Jason, you learn about people management and management skills and people skills. I think that if you don't have those when you go into this position, or when you go into a hall director position, that it could cause some problems. So that definitely enhances those skills, and it was a great experience. It was a challenge at times, but it was a lot of fun. You become very close with the resident assistants who work with you, under you actually. You work as a team. You become like a family. So it was a wonderful opportunity. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
And you were in charge of a freshman dorm. Did you find that they relied on you a lot more than, say, upperclassmen would have?
I think so. I was I was a resident assistant in Talbot Hall when I was an undergraduate, and I was also a resident assistant in Harrod. And I will say that there are different issues that you face in freshman residence halls, homesickness. Some of them, are away from home for the first time, and it's difficult for them. And I think that's definitely a challenge. Whereas your upperclassmen are more established. They know what it's like. They're sophomores, juniors, and seniors, and they already have graduation in their eyes. So they're a little more focused at times than freshmen are.
I know that a lot of the current RAs pretty much gripe about the programs that they have to do. Did you find that the programs conducted in the residence halls help freshmen get involved?
I did. I was a big proponent of programs. The reason I say that is because I think when you centralize activities and educational opportunities for freshmen, when it's really close, like in the TV room of Harrod or in the lobby of Green Hall, and it's really accessible to them, I'll admit that I'm lazy, and sometimes I may not walk across campus to go hear about, security or different programs, how to make Christmas ornaments, but I will go a couple of floors down just to hear it. So when I was a hall director in Herod, we implemented our TNT, which are the Tuesday night things, and I think those, from what I understand, are still in place. Worked really well. Once a week, there was a program, same day, same time, and I think it went really well. I think it was great for the residents.
How has being a former hall director prepared you for your job now?
Well, I think that, like we said earlier, with the people management skills, I think when you're over or you're responsible for, and I did consider it a huge responsibility, in charge of that many residents and resident assistants, I think the management skills that you get and also interaction, opportunity to build relationships with students really kind of prepared me for the job that I have now. There are a lot of students who I knew then as a hall director, and I still know, and they remember me, so I think it was great preparation.
What was the best aspect of being a hall director?
The best aspect, the people. Getting to really know residents at their home, which what I consider a residence hall is their home, and you get to see them in a different light. You may see them in class and you see one side of them, but when you really see them at home in the lobby, and it was a neat experience. I learned a lot about people. I learned a lot about different cultures. You know, I had an opportunity to visit with several of the international students who used to work at our desk, and I learned a lot about them and their cultures. It was really neat.
In contrast, what was the hardest part of that job?
For me, and every person could probably answer this a little differently. Of course, my husband Jason was the co-hall director and did a lot of the work, and I don't want to take all the glory for a lot of things that he did, because he did an excellent job. But the discipline was one of the harder aspects, and that's personally for me. It may not be for other people. You do have to have discipline. That is part of the job. Take the good with the bad, and sometimes that was difficult for me, but it was something that had to be done.
Currently, there are plenty of complaints about residence halls. Did you encounter many problems while living in there?
Well, I mean, there were always problems. There were always roommate situations, and I think a lot of times it was a lack in communication. And it could be coupled with homesickness and a fight with a boyfriend, or maybe doing bad in school, whatever the problems were. But there were problems, I'll be honest with you. And like I said, what we couldn't resolve, we tried to help residents. There were many times we referred residents to our Office of Counseling and Testing for counseling services if they were having some problems that they just needed to talk with a professional about. And of course, all that was free to them. But I think that it's the nature of it when you deal with young people. It's really a neat age in their life, and they learn a lot about themselves, and by living on campus they learn a lot about other people, so sometimes there was a little friction.
You mentioned that you worked with your husband. What was that like?
Well, it was really a lot better than I thought it was going to be. You probably could have never told me that would have worked out, but it worked out well. On that professional level, we rarely ever had a disagreement, and like I said, he did a lot of work and really believed in it like I did. We have the same philosophy on students and education and residents' life. We believe that it's critical. We think that it's wonderful to live on campus, and we both believe that, and so that kind of helped us in our, I guess, professional aspect of working together as opposed to just being a married couple. You did have a little extra pressure at times, but it was nothing ever that was a problem.
You've worked with the President's ambassadors. What were your duties there?
Well, I was a co-advisor with Shelley Whaley. We kind of just oversaw President's Ambassador activities and made sure that things were going as they should, because as you know, the President's Ambassador, one of the President's Ambassador's roles is to conduct campus tours. So to ensure that there was a good quality of tour, we tried to train the President's Ambassadors, and we also did recreational things. We had Christmas get-togethers and end-of-the-year get-togethers, and that was a really fun part of my job, and I miss it. I miss being the co-advisor for the President's Ambassadors. It's a great group of students.
What is the criteria to be a President's Ambassador?
A cumulative 2.85 GPA. I think you have to have 30 hours and be nominated by a faculty or staff person. So I think that's all the criteria, and be a good representation of the university.
Okay.
Other than attracting students, what are some of the other duties of President's Ambassadors?
Well, they are basically ambassadors for the university. They host at official functions like homecoming, when we have officials on campus, when the governor came, not actually on campus, but to the National Guard Armory a couple of years ago, the President's Ambassadors were there to serve as official hosts for the university. So they serve in a real official function, and they get to meet a lot of important people. So it's a great opportunity for them, and it's a good opportunity for the university to utilize students who are of their standards. They're a wonderful, wonderful group.
And what purposes do they serve in attracting students to SAU?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, they do the campus tours. So actually, I consider their role in the recruiting process a very, very significant one, because as a student comes on campus, their experience during a campus tour sometimes, if not all the time, determines whether they come to SAU. And how helpful is that person? And like Shelley and I used to impress upon the President's Ambassadors, you are SAU to that person. You may be the only person that potential student or parent sees from the university. So it's very important to portray an accurate but a positive image of SAU.
Have you had any jobs that weren't in affiliation with SAU?
I used to teach high school English and speech and journalism for about a year and a half. So.
Did you enjoy teaching?
I did. I still do a little bit of teaching. I teach a couple of sections of freshman seminar, and I enjoy teaching. I can't honestly say that I miss teaching in a high school setting, but I definitely love what I do now, and I do still get to teach a little bit. But as far as teaching, the actual job of teaching is fun.
What were some of the best and worst aspects of teaching?
Well, there again, I think it goes back to the individual, and for me it was the discipline. I don't know that I would have ever been really good at discipline in a lot of different ways, but I did. That was probably my least favorite part, is having to send kids to the principal's office or continue to reprimand students. But my favorite part was teaching and helping students. I think there's a great opportunity as a teacher that you have to really influence people, because a lot of students really look up to you, and you are, sometimes the most important person in their lives. Sometimes they don't have any attention from parents or family members. So it's a significant opportunity to help people.
Why did you stop teaching?
Well, I wanted to go into higher education, and I was teaching at Harmony Grove, which is a wonderful school. Of course, Magnolia to Harmony Grove, which is in East Camden, was about 50 minutes. So to be honest with you, I was looking for something at the time, because my husband and I were hall directors. We were looking for something that was close to Magnolia, and so we stumbled upon a job in student success, where I worked before I became assistant dean for campus activities in the student activities office. So it worked out really well, and I've enjoyed it ever since.
What do you think are some of the biggest issues facing SAU students?
Well, I think that a lot of our students utilize financial aid, and I think that sometimes money can be a factor for a lot of our students. A lot of our students are first-generation college students, and a lot of them don't know what it's like or really even know the application or financial aid process, and that may be a challenge for some of them. And I think definitely the opportunities that SAU provides for on-campus employment and different things, like I know being a resident assistant definitely helps out financially, and becoming involved in different organizations or applying for different scholarships. I think maybe a financial need is what a lot of our students have, maybe more so than at other universities. I don't know if that answered your question.
Well, Connie, we want to thank you for being with us on this edition of the SAU Report. I'm Nakita Martin.
And I'm Monica Rasmussen.
Thanks for watching.
The SAU Report is a production of broadcast journalism students in the Department of Theater and Mass Communication at Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia.